Most people don't ruin their lives because they are bad people. They ruin their lives because of one moment, one sentence spoken in anger, one decision made when emotions were louder than logic. Science already tells us this. When anger takes control, the thinking part of the brain shuts down. In those moments, we don't choose wisely. We react blindly. And what feels powerful in the moment often becomes regret later. Aristotle once said that anyone can become angry, but to be angry at the right time, for the right reason, and in the right amount, that is a rare skill. And if we are honest with ourselves, most of us haven't mastered that skill at all. Think about it. How many friendships were broken because of one angry message? How many families drifted apart because of one emotional argument? How many lives changed direction because someone reacted instead of pausing? This is not just a story about anger. This is a story about control. Long ago, there lived a powerful king. He was intelligent, respected, and feared. But behind his crown was a weakness he never learned to defeat: his temper. Small mistakes felt like personal attacks to him. Minor problems turned into major punishments. When anger rose, judgment disappeared. People obeyed him, but they did not feel safe around him. One evening, a man from the king's past arrived at the palace, his childhood teacher. The same man who had once taught him how to read, how to think, and how to see the world beyond power. The king welcomed him warmly and invited him to dine together. They laughed, shared memories, and spoke of old lessons long forgotten. Then something very small happened. A fly fell into the king's soup. In an instant, the king's face changed. His joy vanished. His voice rose with fury. "How dare you?" he shouted at the servant. "A fly in my soup? Is this how you serve your king?" The servant trembled and replied softly, "Your Majesty, there was no fly when the soup was served." But anger does not listen. It only reacts. The teacher watched quietly and then spoke calmly. "Your Majesty, the servant is not at fault. The fly must have fallen in later." The king snapped back. "You don't understand. Even small things like this destroy my peace." The teacher smiled gently and said something that silenced the entire room. "The fly did not steal your peace. Your reaction did." The king froze. One who cannot rule over his own emotions can never truly rule over anything else. That moment stayed with the king. The teacher went on. Decisions made in anger or extreme joy are rarely wise. Before reacting, give yourself time. If you don't control your emotions, they will control you. The king lowered his voice and admitted, "I try, but I always fail." The teacher replied, "Because control is not a wish. It is a practice. Patience is a habit, just like anger is a habit." Those words changed something inside the king. From that day forward, he began to pause, not to suppress emotions, but to observe them. He learned that when the mind is calm, clarity appears. And when clarity appears, better decisions follow. Slowly, the kingdom changed. Punishments became fair. Decisions became thoughtful. People no longer feared the king. They respected him. One day, the king returned to his teacher and said, "I finally understand. Strength is not in anger. Strength is in control." The teacher smiled and said, "This lesson is not only for kings. It is for everyone. Because all of us live in a world full of pressure, deadlines, criticism, stress, expectations, and when emotions rise, we forget who we want to be. Anger, sadness, happiness, these emotions are natural. They come and go like waves, but when we react without awareness, those waves pull us under. The first step towards control is awareness, noticing what triggers us. Certain words, certain memories, certain situations. For some, it's criticism. For others, it's feeling ignored. For many, it's old pain that never healed. When emotions rise, pause, breathe, observe without judgment. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to react to every trigger. Sometimes, silence is strength. Emotions are temporary. Regret can be permanent. If we learn to respond instead of react, we protect our relationships, our peace, and our future. Because true power is not loud. True power is calm. And the strongest people are not those who explode, but those who can stay steady when everything inside them wants to burn.